Today's Prizm release day, Prizm Football. Last week was the release of first off the line. You know, it's a product nowadays. I've talked about this in the past, just overall, just in general. Prizm I think it's always going to be the number one product. I wish that it had a little bit more prestige the way that it did a couple of years ago, but that's just kind of not the way that it really is structured anymore, unfortunately. We're going to see the rookies from the last draft get their rookie cards before this year's upcoming draft, and it seems like I wish that there was a structure where they could come out with these products earlier. Like, I wish that this product came out. I mean, I don't even know really when. During the Super Bowl, I feel like is the perfect time for Prizm to come out. I mean, we'll see down the road too. Like, I wonder if Topps, if Panini ever buys, if Topps/Fanatics ever buys Panini, I'll be interested to see if they continue with the Panini brands or if they pick and choose. And I mean, maybe it's even like Topps announced at their industry conference that they're going to be cutting back on some of their Topps baseball products. I'm wondering if they're doing that because they are trying to make room for Panini products to come in. Like, they're getting rid of, Gypsy Queen, Topps Fire, which I actually really liked. They were getting rid of Opening Day because they know that Panini is going to be coming in and they're going to be taking like Prizm and Donruss and Optic, and those are going to be taking the place of some of those products that Topps got rid of, or if they're just getting rid of them because they're going to be increasing the print run of the other bigger products. Because, like, just for an example, like Contenders wasn't always a Panini product. It started out as Donruss Playoff, which was a company that Panini bought, and then it became a Panini product. Like, and I think they even continued. I think that they bought it and they didn't even change the name fully. Like, they still went with just Contenders, and then it became Panini Contenders after a couple of years of having the brand. And it's one of the brands that's actually been around the longest. It's other than Flagship is kind of I'm not even really putting it in the same category as Flagship because it's just it's not really. Contenders it was first released in '98 with Peyton Manning and Randy Moss. So I guess, or the other circumstance I think that could happen is like if Panini doesn't buy Topps, like I wonder what's going to happen. Well, actually, I mean, the only way that Topps would ever come out with a Prizm product is if Topps/Fanatics buys Panini, because Panini still has the licenses for WWE and UFC and some soccer ones. So like FIFA, which is like World Cup stuff. So like they're still coming out with Prizm Select Donruss for those sports. And the only way that Topps would ever really come in probably and be able to make any of these products would be if Topps bought Panini. And I don't really see that happening. Also, it's weird. Malik Willis is on the cover. I mean, they went with like an all Titans cover for the product release. I'm going to switch over to eBay too, because we're going to look at some of the, sales, I guess. Cause that's sort of I think that's a big thing that kind of always seems to happen. Oh, nope, not stop sharing. We want to move this screen share. We'll go to Prizm Football. Some of the sales so far, actually, football. Let's get rid of Mosaic because sales. I mean, I guess I want to get rid of box and breaks as well. Box, break. Is there a way? Yeah, I could go in here. Okay, so this maybe makes more sense. So we're seeing some of the cards here. I mean, let's scroll down until we find like Malik Willis, $10, which that's going to be like a $2 to $3 card maybe in a couple months. Kenneth Walker. I mean, I love Kenneth Walker. I picked him up in fantasy actually, like early, like right at the beginning of the season, and that obviously turned out great. Aiden Hutchinson, another silver. Let's go to Switch headphones here. And then actually just make sure we're not running into any issues with the speaker. This is the live stream portion of the show. Actually, I do also want to check. Yeah, there we go. Okay, should be all good. Let me make sure the stream is still good and everything. We'll just check YouTube really quick. Oh, I have to make sure. Yeah, looks like it's good. I do have to make sure I stop shaking the screen. That's maybe something I'll have to figure out. Okay, so back over to StreamYard. Actually gonna make this a little bit bigger here. And then yeah, so Prism Hutchinson, $12. Like I said, I mean, these are just they're not cards that are going to be this price in a few months. I know one of the the big rookie was go to Brock Purdy. He was the big rookie, I guess, big rookie coming out of this product. I mean, I don't even know, like, yeah, that's crazy. $100 for like a base card. I mean, I've realized that I probably will just continue to say it because, like, realistically, I think no one, the people who are buying the cards on the day of release probably aren't watching social media content, or I don't know, they just want to buy the card. Like, if you're spending $100 on a Brock Purdy Prism card, like he had a pretty good run. He had a good run. Like, I'm not even gonna say pretty good. He had a good run in his rookie year, but like just overall, like this, it's not a card that down the road is going to be $100. Like I think I saw on TikTok, and I should have actually saved it. The TikTok was basically comparing, the Brock Purdy sales to every other Prism card from players like Joe Burrow, I think he was even like Justin Herbert, like Trevor Lawrence, like all these cards. I mean, you look at first sales, they're always like this. So like, I think if you're on social media, you're on Twitter, you're on TikTok, Facebook, whatever, you're going to see people talking about these sales because they're just ridiculous. And I mean, I guess it's even just a tale of caution to be like, hey, don't just wait, just wait even like 2 or 3 weeks until more of these cards are out. And it seems very counterintuitive, to be honest, because it, like, from a supply and demand standpoint, like the most people opening the product are going to be opening it probably around the release date. So like, in theory, you would think that that means there are going to be more cards in circulation and that the price would be down right now compared to where it would be. But it's actually the complete opposite for whatever reason. Like, people buy the first card on eBay, and even these are from, even from the other, actually, yeah. So these are the first couple sales here. So like, yeah, $90, even the same seller. So it's like, good for the seller. Like, that's the one thing I'll say too. Like, if you're opening this product and you pull one of these rookie cards, like a Brock Purdy or whoever, like, go ahead and sell the card. Like, I'm not someone who is like, you shouldn't sell your card at the top price because you're ripping somebody off, even though, I don't know, you kind of are. Like, as a seller, especially if you have sold 7,000 things on eBay. And then, like I said, this is, I'm advocating for someone selling it. Like, go ahead, sell the card. I don't even care really what you do. Like, you go and buy more cards. Don't buy more cards. Go to some nice steak dinner with the cards. I don't really care. Like, I don't care what people are doing with their money there. But it's like, you kind of know, like, if you're selling the card for $100, like, you're sort of ripping somebody off a little bit. Like, and I don't really want to word it so negatively, but at the same time, it's like, the person that bought that card for $100, they're never going to be able to they're probably never going to be able to sell that card for $100 again, realistically. Like, if you grade it, sure, like, maybe that's what this person's doing. They're buying the card for 100, they're going to grade it, and then they're going to sell. That's really the only way you can make your money back here, or make any extra money on these cards, is if you go out and is basically if you go out, get it one day graded, and then you sell the card. Like that, for the most part, that's going to be your best bet when it comes to like the only way you really can make back your $100 that you spent on this card. Let's see. I mean, I don't even know, like this past draft, like 2022 NFL draft. Like, I don't think it was super crazy. Let me look. Yeah, I mean, I guess there was a lot of position players. There weren't a lot of quarterbacks. Other than Purdy, I guess is probably the draw. Kenny Pickett, I guess, would be another one that maybe I'll look up his as well. I would imagine it's probably around the same. Like Pickett, his hype is probably fairly similar to Brock Purdy when it comes to how people view him in the hobby. Let's see if we can find any. Oh, I mean, not even 100. Oh, same guy actually too, or person, same seller. Interesting. $19. I mean, that's if you're selling the Purdy card for 19, like that's where I would more expect that card to sell. And I guess I don't even know, to be honest, where. Like the market is the market. So there's always going to be somebody who's overpaying on the first couple days of the release of these products for the card to be the first. I don't know, because maybe somebody, maybe it's somebody who just looks at it and says, well, I want to be the person that buys the first one on eBay. That could be the case. I mean, there's a ton of different scenarios about like who is the buyer of this card, like why people are buying it. Like, we saw, I mean, even graded first graded card. Like last year, I think the scenario was a little bit different where the products were pretty delayed, like way more delayed than they were this year. Like we saw the Mac Jones card, the Mac Jones first Donruss PSA 10 sell for like, I think it was like $3K, which I also would wonder, like, this is one of the things with eBay, and one of the problems that I have with the platform is like, we don't even know if this card actually sold for that. Like, we don't know if the buyer paid or if nobody paid. Like, I wish that there was a way that eBay would show it. And I don't know. I actually have no idea why they don't show who's paid and who hasn't paid, because I would be willing to guess the person that bought the Donruss Mac Jones card for $3,000 last year, I'd say that there's probably a 50-50 shot that person didn't pay. I also would say that there's maybe a 50-50 shot that the Brock Purdy sales didn't pay. Because, it could even be a scenario like shill bidding is just something that happens on eBay, and there's nothing we can do about it. Unfortunately, eBay has really not come out and done anything about it. Probstein, there's still huge issues with them with some of their shill bidding. They did kick PWCC off their platform, but like realistically, like that didn't do much, in my opinion, when it comes to like what they're trying to do to stop shill bidding. I don't know if it's maybe I don't know. There must be some sort of thing where if they're trying to show investors total amount spent on the platform, like the investors just care about the number being higher. It's maybe similar where it's like in marketing, like, Facebook ads and even display stuff, like the trackability of it is much higher than like a Super Bowl commercial, unless you're putting like a direct call to action and a direct like hashtag Super Bowl or use code Super Bowl, like whatever, then comparing, the Super Bowl ad to like a display thing. But maybe the whatever investors or whatever, just look at the high number that is how many cards sold or how much money was spent on eBay, and they don't care or whatever, but they should, because it's like, if the money's not really being spent, then the investors are people that are investing are being misled, I guess. I don't know. It's like, but like for $20, I bet you there's a decent chance that this card got paid for. I might even see, because like with eBay too, like I think I talked about this on a previous show where I said that their eBay and like ComC and like Golden and PWCC, they're all missing a social media aspect to their platforms, like this selling in general. Like social selling, I think, is actually something that sports cards really, more than any other industry, has pretty much on lock when it comes to like what they um the social selling and the aspect of like buying and selling and showing your cards on your social media and like connecting your social media accounts to maybe some of your selling accounts or something along those lines. Like I think that there's a missed opportunity there for some of these companies because like whoever this Ball and Auctions is, like they have 7,000 eBay sales. Like, I'm sure maybe if you go to Twitter or you go to Instagram, you maybe could find them, but it's like, it should just be integrated easier. And maybe it's another thing where it's like this industry is much different than most other industries when it comes to buying and selling things on eBay. So maybe if you're eBay, it's like you're trying to roll out this new feature and like nobody cares, like other than maybe sports cards, but it's like their sports cards is one of the highest markets on eBay. So it's almost like the casual versus the hardcore fans. Like when it comes to like video games, like do they want to make features that cater towards the casual fans or the hardcore fans? And maybe they don't want to roll out a new feature that they know is going to be used a lot by a small amount of people, or they want to roll out a feature that's used a lot by a lot of people. So that way they can say X amount of people use it. They don't necessarily care that a small amount of people use it a lot. They want the TikTok numbers, the numbers of people who are downloading the thing, who are using the new platform, who are using this new system or whatever. They want those numbers rather than the person who's selling on eBay every single day, who stuff along those lines. So that's sort of my kind of thoughts on eBay and the social aspect of it. Yeah, I mean, and I'm like I said, I'm looking at this draft for football, and really, I mean, Kenny Pickett and Brock Purdy. I mean, let me go to Football Reference actually and see if I can get a better list of like players who played well. Cause like, so Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, like they're players that are probably going to have good cards. I mean, like I'll switch over here, switch to this tab. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, Sauce Gardner. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I mean, let's look at. I mean, I guess we'll look at touchdowns. Oops. Brady Zappi, I guess, will be in this. Desmond Ridder will be in this. Skylar Thompson, Sam Howell. Like, though, I mean, obviously they're going to have probably the most. Like, wait, so passing touchdowns. Let's look at rushing touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, Breece Hall. I mean, those names will probably be, you'll probably see a lot of marketing around those players, but like the pricing of their cards, like I wouldn't hold your breath if you pull any of those cards and you're trying to save them for like a high dollar amount. Just sell them as soon as you can. I mean, with those ones, you're obviously not going to get like the hundreds of dollars on the cards versus like, that Brock Purdy. Like I actually wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, if the next Brock Purdy sale, like the next base Brock Purdy, like whatever the next couple, if that drops to like $20 based on the Kenny Pickett. Because like also the thing about those first sales is like it's setting the market in a way. Like nobody really knows what a card can sell for until it does. So like it's sort of setting the market. Like I think the market for those, the Brock Purdy, I think that ends up coming down pretty significantly. I probably see that in a week. That's probably $20. In 6 months, that's probably like $5 realistically. Like even once we get closer to the start of the year, I mean, I don't even know, like San Francisco, like they've got like, they've got Purdy, they've got Trey Lance, and then they just signed somebody else. I forget who. They signed like another third quarterback. Oh, it might be Sam Darnold, which I guess that's kind of another conversation of like quarterbacks in the hobby and quarterbacks in general. Like I remember going to the 2019 National and like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield's another one, for example. Like those players were the hottest players of that show. Like everybody wanted those cards. And it's like now, you probably can pick up like a Baker Mayfield, which he just signed with the Bucks. So it's going to be an interesting redemption arc for him if he ends up coming back at all. But that's debatable if that'll ever happen. I mean, same with Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting cut before, the opening day of the NFL, just from the sake that like Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, like those are players on the roster that are like Brock, and obviously with the injury, I'm pretty sure with that injury, Brock Purdy will be available for the start of the season. Like I don't think it's like an Odell situation where he got hurt in the Super Bowl and then he missed the whole entire season. But either way, I mean, just looking at these like drafts, like draft picks, and let's look at receiving touchdowns. I mean, it probably wasn't super crazy. I mean, Kenneth Walker, oh, that's still rushing, receiving touchdowns. That's what we want to go to. Christian Watson, Jalen Dodson, George Pickens, Drake London. I mean, the names are fine. The names are pretty good. Like anytime you really get into the rookie class and you look at kind of what they did, you can see potential in a lot of these players. But in the same breath, you can look at it and say, like, you know, who knows where these players end up going or how well they do after their second or after their first year. I mean, Rashad White, I think, is a decent running back, but at the same time, when we're talking football cards, like nobody really wants position players. So it's like if you're if you're opening Prism and you're pulling any of these cards, sure, it's gonna be a cool card to pull, but like, I mean, let's just look at like I mean, I don't even know who you would. Kenneth Walker, I guess, would be maybe somebody to look up. Like, let's look up Kenneth Walker and just see what his cards. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the $5 range, just because, like I said, the position players just aren't. They don't move the needle the same way that quarterbacks do by any means. Yeah, 10. I mean, $10 isn't super surprising for the first couple, but it's the same thing. It's like that $10, like I wouldn't be surprised if the next sale is $4 or $3 or $2 because it's a position player. And unfortunately, with position players overall, they just don't hold the same stature as quarterbacks in general. And I mean, I've talked this into the ground about the position players and all that type of stuff. I mean, it's always exciting when the new products start coming out and you see these new rookies, but like overall, like, I don't know. I mean, you're really not looking at something super crazy when it comes to this year's Prism overall. Just because like the quarterback class wasn't phenomenal. Like Kenny Pickett is like the star of the quarterback class, and like he didn't really play that well last year. I mean, he played fine, but like overall, you're really not the best, if I'm going to be honest. All right, let's see what else. Let's talk about Topps Project 100.